Everyone needs a good breakfast. Made in the morning stays crunchy, even in milk.
It is Made in the Morning here on Live 107.3. Lee with you right the way through until 9 this morning. Getting very excited, very excited, because it is that time of month again. Time for another TNA exclusive event. TNA Emergence comes your way tonight into the wee small hours of tomorrow morning. That's 1 a.m. UK time, 8 p.m. Eastern. And it really is a stat card, which includes the return of Ultimate X, Steve Macklin taking on Eric Young, the 8-man tag team war, and of course that 6 knockout tag team clash, which is going to be off the hook. But let's face it, there's only one big match that everyone is talking about, a possible match of the year contender. It is the 1 hour Iron Man match for the TNA World title. Walking weapon Josh Alexander looking to get his hands on that gold belt from the man who won it at Slammiversary. He is setting the wrestling world on fire in 2024. He is performing like no one else. He is having the best year of his professional wrestling career, in my opinion. I'm delighted to say I am joined by the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, the wanted man, Nic Nemeth. Nic, good morning, my friend.
Good morning, man. I don't think I could possibly build myself up any bigger than you just did for me. So you really don't need me in this interview, but I appreciate it.
You know something, mate? I'm everything I said, I absolutely mean. You are having the year of your life since debuting in January at Hard to Kill. You shocked the wrestling world. I was sitting up 3 o'clock in the morning here in the UK. My jaw dropped. My wife was asleep up the stairs. She was woken by the shout of excitement when the camera panned to you in that TNA wrestling ring. I was stacked. I was psyched. How have the past 8 months been for you before we get on to talk about what's going to happen tonight at Emergence?
Man, it's been fun. I didn't know what the hell was going to happen. I didn't know if anybody wanted me around. I didn't know if everyone was sick of seeing me for 19 years in a row and I needed to go away for a year and then show up somewhere. But what I really wanted to do was show up and not stroll into the main event and start over 2.0 and go, I am not fighting for this title until you fans decide I should be. I'm not strolling in here to go, look, I got a golden ticket because I was on TV for 20 years somewhere else. I wanted to earn it. And I didn't know. I go, can I still go out of that bubble? I was in one bubble forever. And I knew my opponents. I knew their movements. I knew the way they go. I knew how to counter moves. And now every weekend, I'm walking into a different locker room where I know 1 or 2 people or maybe nobody. And I instantly go, do I still got it? Can I go? And so far, I have backed it up every step of the way, to say the least. That match that we at Slammiversary could have went any one of 6 ways, and I would have said, yes, that makes sense, because there was 6 main eventers in that match. No fluff, no filler, no bogus, anything. It was just 6 people who have been or could be world champ when that match ends. And luckily it turned out to be me. So I'm not going to hand it back and go, guys, that could have been anybody. I guess anybody else would be champion. I'm going to hang on to this baby till you pry it from my cold dead hands, because I want to be a walking ambassador for TNA, no matter what the situation, whether I'm X Division champion, tag team champion, or no champion whatsoever. I want to let everyone know how much I believe in this roster, this company, the long-term behind the scenes booking, the blueprint, everything, the stories. I love the people behind the scenes, Tommy and Gail and Ariel, who are just, they listen to us, they take some pieces in, and we go back and forth and we make things happen. And so far, they've been making magic behind the scenes and in the ring. The roster has absolutely delivered every step away. There's no, even in the negative internet, there's no one going, that TNA show, wasn't that great. Everyone goes, holy crap, every match outdid the next one. And that is the goal. There is I keep saying, like, I love this hardworking and we're all a team. That's every wrestling locker room. Almost every wrestling locker room, 99% of every locker room's 99% are all on the same page, working to be like, we want everyone to come to these shows. So for that to stand out in my head as a hardworking roster who is all on the same page, to have the company, the team deliver, I live for that stuff. I'm happy to be an ambassador, whether I'm world champ or not. But at the moment, I'm world champion, and there's sure as hell no way I'm just going to let it go on Friday.
How did it actually feel when you walked into Hard to Kill, when you came into Hard to Kill that night? The audience, they embraced you right away. But what was it actually like? Because this wasn't just a massive moment for yourself in the reinvention of Nic Nemeth. This was a massive moment for the rebirth of TNA, an organization that in one incarnation or another, many people had said wouldn't last 20 minutes, 20 weeks, let alone 20 years. So how did it feel to actually realize you were going to be the last thing people saw on that pay-per-view of the rebirth?
When it goes through your head when you're sitting there, you're like, oh, I got all day. I'm hiding out. You can't let anyone know you're there. I'm hiding out in Vegas off the strip, which that already breaks my heart. I'm not on the strip, but I go, this is for the best. I got to hide. I can't go do my fun stuff. Can't go watch Spandex Nation. So I hung out, laid low, but then you get all this time to think and go, well, there's a main event that's doing 35 minutes and crushing it. I have one job tonight. If I fall going over the guardrail, if I slide into the ring and roll my ankle, if I go to super kick somebody and miss them, if I fall down and split my pants, like you think of all these different things that could possibly derail this amazing moment that I'm hoping, sight unseen, that everybody goes, what the hell? Oh, baby, let's go. And I felt it when I hopped that guardrail. And as I was waiting to slide in, I could start to hear everyone go, what is he? Everybody online let me know that they knew where I was going. And almost nobody had said TNA, which I loved so much because I had talked behind the scenes, like I had already said, like the infrastructure. I loved the place already. And I was just hoping everybody remembered or everybody was shocked or everybody lost their mind. And I got to kick Moose in the face and celebrate with the people in the crowd. And they absolutely went berserk. And I said, we are off and running. Let us take this hype and just keep climbing every step of the way for the next year.
And that's what's happened. That rebirth at TNA is on a trajectory back to the stars, and it's doing it in the absolute right way with solid storytelling right the way through. And your story so far has reached that high point at Slammiversary, as we say, winning that amazing match, claiming that world title. But it was on that night, during that match, that something happened in the mind of the walking weapon, Josh Alexander. It just flipped. And all of a sudden, we are seeing a side to him that we have never seen before. He has become a much more dangerous man in the past few weeks, Nic. What was the reaction to this change in the locker room, in the back? And was there any signs of this actually coming? Because you guys were pretty close, you know?
So the thing is, when it comes to a calculated play like this, now, whether it drove him in the heat of the moment, it sure didn't seem like it, because when he came out and talked about it, he said, I'm sick of this. I've had this planned. I've been waiting, suckering you guys all in. So in one aspect, I almost respect it, because at some point it's fight or flight. You got to do whatever it takes. And if you think winning that world title, you have to do anything at all costs, sometimes that's the play. Sometimes some of us don't have the guts to go above and beyond, break the rules, crack a few yolks, crack a few eggs to make an omelet. And because it's not all easy, it's not all cut and dry. People have their reasons. But to the split second that I saw while in mid match, and I went, first thing I thought was, this guy's willing to do anything to win this match, because he's actually smart here, because there's no disqualification at the moment, because there's 6 guys out there. So you can't disqualify anybody. So actually he's playing into the rules really well. Now, if he snapped or had this all planned out, which it appears that he had planned it out the way he's spoken since, and he said everyone's on his time. He's done sucking up to the fans. He just wants to continue to dominate. And now I'm going into a match that is his match, the Iron Man match, his thing. I'm going into his backyard as the world champion, hoping to escape with it. Now, I appreciate that he's willing to go above and beyond, because as much as I'm smiling now, there was about 17 of my 19 and a half years where I understand the it's only cheating if you get caught, brother. So remember that. So I get that to a T, but also as the champion, as someone who wants to set an example, someone who wants to be an ambassador, someone who wants to do all the media, the PR work, you name it, represent this company. I know what I can do and I'm capable of. And I finally saw a crack in him at the 31-minute mark of our match, when I said, man, if we got 5 more minutes, I better be able to back this up. I'm asking for it. And the low blow, when I looked in his eyes, I said, you're not the man I thought you were. You are a buzzsaw. You are a machine. You are an Iron Man match aficionado.
Yeah.
But I now know that when the going gets tough, you're going to go for the easy way out. And again, if that helps him win, I understand. But I know that just on everything that I have trained for in the back of my mind, the stamina, the moves, the mindset, the ring generalness, I know that I don't need to do that to win. It might happen. Hell, in the heat of the battle, anybody can do anything. But I know that I can beat him. And he told me himself when he low blowed me in that match. And I said, your match or not for an Iron Man. And I know when I look in your eyes that I am better than you. I can beat you. And I know that you are weak-minded and will do whatever it takes. So I also know that you're backed into a corner here and you just might. So I have to be ready for everything.
It's all right saying you have to be ready for everything. And you mentioned you've got an amazing mind for this business, Nick. You know what's going on inside and outside of that ring at all times. How much of this is going to come down purely to stamina, to that prep? Because 60 minutes is, well, it is a long time. It's a long time in that ring. That's much more than many professional wrestling shows would have in a normal 3-hour pay-per-view. And you guys are doing it continuously. I mean, you said before, you're out there week in, week out. You're wrestling, you've got those reps in, but there's a difference between doing lots of reps in a ring over a weekend on a run and doing it continuously for 60 minutes.
And again, you can make it, you can try and make up for it, whether you're doing cardio, running stairs, hiking, sitting in saunas. It's not the same. It is not the same training. And it's just like wrestling in high school or college. When I was wrestling at St. Ed's or Kent State, it didn't matter. That stamina, you can make it happen. And mentally you could be there, but it is not the same unless you are fighting for your life for 60 consecutive minutes. Then your body has that muscle memory. So I'm going in there. I know what I can do stamina wise. I know with the chip on my shoulder, I'm not going to let him win, but I also know that this mind that has gotten me 20 years of stealing shows from shows that I shouldn't have been on or shouldn't have stolen it on. I know what it takes. I know what needs to happen. And I've watched enough Josh Alexander stuff to where everyone's talking about, the match and the stamina. I'm watching when he gets tired in a match. I know that he goes off his back foot one way. I know when someone counters something of his that he's not ready for, he has a twitch in his eye and he looks down and he loses a half step for a second and then goes right back to it. So those pieces, the in-between pieces that all the old timers tell us that no one has figured out, I've had figured out for about 15 years now. And you'll never fully figure it out, but you keep learning every day. And now I'm going to be using my mental game out there against him. When I catch him breathing heavy, I'll make sure to go out of my way to not be breathing heavy, whether it's mental or not. This comes down to two ring generals, two people with the ring IQ, awareness, you name it, however you want to say it. We have to find a way to fight the other one who is not going to let the other one win. And I think everybody's going to be blown away because we are going to leave it all out there. I'm assuming he will. I know I am.
I'm not a big fan of using the term internet wrestling community, but you mentioned it earlier on. And there's already talk online about this being a possible match of the year contender. Now, to hear that, does it bring an extra layer of pressure going into this? If not right at the front of your mind, does it weigh in there at the back?
It's not wrestling internet community saying so. Me hearing it from my coworkers saying, man, this should be the best, like this could be one of the best ones. And you go, well, one, my mindset is already focused on winning. And now I have to go, everyone's expecting me to crush this, steal the show, and have people on the edge of their seats for 59 and that's 60 minutes. And I need to find a way to make that work and to come out on top, not just put on a show, not steal the show, not just show everybody that I can go and not be tired. I have to come out on top. So I'm not worried or even thinking about match of the year or this is going to be great. What I'm thinking about is every step of the way having a counter for him. And every step of the way, finding a way to kick out before 3. And every step of the way, letting everyone in that arena and watching at home on the TNA Plus app, Triller, you name it, everybody watching it going, this is the guy. And he's beating Josh at his own game. And he's going to steal the show.
We are talking with the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Nic Nemeth. You can see him tonight exclusively on TNA Plus. Head online to tnawrestling.com for more information. We're going to speak more with Nic straight after this.
Changing, evolving, constantly evolving.
Listen to this sold-out capacity crowd.
TNA on its rise to the top.
Just keeps getting better.
What's passion? What's pain? Gotta lose before you can. That's the game. No shame. All things, you just gotta keep going. That's the game.
TNA Wrestling presents Emergence, Friday, August 30th on TNA Plus.
Welcome back to Made in the Morning here on Live 107.3. Getting set, as I said before, for another night of TNA wrestling action. If you haven't already seen the new episode of TNA Impact, which dropped just a few hours ago on the TNA Plus app or on AXSTV, you can head online and watch it right now. I recommend you do that before you have a late night, if you're going to be anything like myself in the Med household, watching TNA Emergence, which comes our way tonight, 1 a.m. here in the UK. It's going to be an action-packed and stacked card. We've already ran through that. We'll have more on that on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Med in the Morning. But I'm delighted to say I am still joined by the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, the wanted man, Nic Nemeth. Nic, you still with me, my friend?
Oh, in spirit. Yes, I am still with you. But it's the day of. It's all that mind stuff that I said I've been working on and focusing on, mental. That is a full day of not much sleep the night before, focusing the second I wake up for the first time, not opening it to go check my phone for news, going, where are you at? Okay. How's your diet? You fasted 18 hours at this point? Great. You are hungry to go win, and you reward yourself with a fat ass steak afterwards. But at the moment, you got to keep your mind hungry, keep your body hungry. And this is the perfect way to go. I have worked on this for 39 of 44 years at being the absolute best shape physically and mentally. And I am ready to go deliver right now.
You are going to deliver in that ring tonight, and you have been delivering since you arrived in TNA Wrestling. And I need to ask a question. What's it actually like to be able to be in the same promotion and team with your brother, the Hollywood hunk, Ryan? Because you guys seem to be having a whale of a time when you get the chance to be on camera together.
It's pretty funny because behind the scenes or doing YouTube stuff or comedy shows or improv or hunkamanias, we get a chance to constantly be throwing jokes and ideas off each other, but also the ideas for not just wrestling matches, but the ideas of the business and being able to I've had 2 matches with Ryan. 2, that's it. And they all happened a couple of months ago. And it was so great though, because that chemistry that out of the ring somewhat transferred in. I didn't know if it would at all, but it's not the same as being the Hardy Boys where you just can look at each other and tag and know, but that takes time, obviously, and reps that they have actually had. We've had 2 matches together. And by the way, we did pretty damn well in those 2 matches. But the best part is knowing that mental capacity between the 2 of us and the idea of where we need to go so we can look at each other and be on the same page to a certain extent. Without the reps, it won't be the same, but it's so freaking awesome. Someone that, we talk every day, whether it's in group chats or together, or ideas for comedy shows, ideas for improv shows, ideas for wrestling, ideas for teams, ideas for mental awareness of wrestling matches, whether we're in singles with nothing to do with each other or tagging together. So it's been an absolute blast. Seeing him at work is so funny to me. It just makes me laugh when I see him. So it's pretty great that 20 years later, we've gotten a chance to be in the ring a few different times, and I'm sure there's several more to come.
I cannot wait to see that. You mentioned before, you're currently the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. You said it doesn't matter whether you have a belt or whether you don't, you're going to always go out there and do your best. But what would it mean to you? You mentioned the Hardy Boys before. When we look at some of the family connections that we've seen in the world of professional wrestling, the Hardys, the Steiners jumping immediately ahead. What would it mean to actually be able to have a tag team run with your brother?
That'd be pretty sweet. And no matter what happens or where or live events on a weekend or TNA, you name it, we've traveled to Puerto Rico a couple different times together for WWC. So we will be again this week. But the best part of all of that is we can slowly at any point turn into this multifaceted tag team, and then go on our run, whether I'm world champion or whether a year went by and I give up the title because I have no more opponents to face and I retire it. I go, me and Ryan, now we're doing our run here. So, or together while world champion, you name it. So the best part is thinking of those pieces together and go, man, we could tag against the Hardys, or we can tag against these local Cleveland guys. Or you know what? The Young Bucks, that'd be a hell of a match. Brothers versus brothers. Like, isn't that cool as hell? And there's so many different ways to do different pieces and different matches. And I hope one way or another down the line, they don't have to be brothers, but I just mean established teams. And then we could try it out and go, hey, slowly but surely over the next 6 months, year, 2 years, slowly get those reps in. And then we are on the same page. And then we do become a formidable tag team that is brothers.
That would be absolutely awesome. And you mentioned there the fact that you do perform all around the world, Nick. Obviously, you have done so over the past 20 years. We love having TNA wrestling here in the UK. Fingers crossed it returns very, very soon. What would it mean to you to be part of the TNA roster as world champion, perhaps coming back to the UK? And you never know, perhaps coming up for a mega pay-per-view.
I think that is something I'm not going to pretend to know any inside scoop or anything. I just think it is something that it would be rewarding the fans for having our backs. It would be rewarding the fans for joining us on TNA Plus at all times. And I really think it is just getting those baby steps together, getting the reps in as a company, as we're slowly but surely climbing that hill. And we're putting out a fantastic show every Thursday. And then, of course, Emergence on Friday. And every Tuesday, you don't know who's going to show up on NXT from our roster. I love that. So having all these pieces going together and everybody constantly talking about us, I really think that's going to help. The important part is getting the eyes on the show. When everybody starts getting more eyes on our TV show and seeing all the people and the talent and the hard work that's there, they're going to realize that we need to go, okay, next time we come back to Louisville, we have to be in a bigger arena. And then the next time we come back to Louisville, in a bigger arena. And then the next time we go, we have to go to the UK for it, because we get to reward those fans for having our back for the last full year and 20 years before it. So I really think the more people check out our product, the more people watch TNA Plus app, the more you're going to say, we need these guys here. And that vocal voice will be picked up by the behind the scenes people of TNA. And one way or another, we will get there. Damn it, it'd be great to be world champ too.
Looking forward. Nick, there's just one final thing we need to do with you before we go, if you're up for this. I like to do with all the TNA wrestling superstars. Now, it's a quick round of the name game. I've got 5 names of people from the TNA roster. I would like to see the first thing that jumps into your head when I give you that name. Are you up for this?
I don't know. I'll be here for it. Yeah, I don't know if I'm up for it. We'll see.
All right, first name, Tasha Steelz.
Steelz, killer. She's great. And I think everybody's young. So everybody looks young to me, but she's a young killer. Let's leave it at that in the positive way.
Sure. Second name, Ace Steel.
Steel, great. Been in the ring. Seen him. He's great. Behind the scenes. Let's say behind the scenes, big thumbs up. He's helped out. Yeah, I like that.
Name number 3, Giselle Shaw.
Ooh. What did she do the other day? I can't call everyone killers. That's all good stuff. So let's say, what's a good word for Giselle? You know what? Everybody can't be killers. I'm gonna say badass. Let's say badass. The last couple, I saw, I think 2 explosions in a TV match, and I was like, damn, killing it. Yeah.
All right. Name number 4, Joe Hendry.
Ooh. Let's say hot as hell right now. Let's say that.
And the final name on this list, the voice of TNA wrestling, Tom Hannifin.
Wow. You know what? My second week there, I sent an email to the behind the scenes people saying, you know what? The week before, there was this great package. It was for somebody else, but I had watched the show and I said, I am blown away by the hard work that you guys do to put these pieces together. And then the second week I said, please send a little note to Tom for me that him and Matt are crushing it. You take it for granted, and I don't always, you take referees for granted. Sometimes you take managers for granted. And then you have the voice of this entire show that, by the way, everyone is telling me we're crushing it and we're doing well and the numbers are up. When you have that voice behind guiding that ship, that is something special. Him and Matt are absolutely crushing it. And it goes under the radar sometimes because we're thinking of the matches and the fighters. So let's say sleeper, but killing it. Let's go with that.
Superb, superb. I've been speaking with the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Nic Nemeth. You can see him tonight. He's defending his title in a 1-hour Iron Man match against Josh Alexander. If you haven't already subscribed to TNA Plus, now is the time to do it. Head online, tnawrestling.com, for all the details. Nic, thank you so much for taking the time. I look forward to catching up with you again soon, my friend.
You got it, man. Looking forward to it.